I have some new information regarding the previously discussed AI-induced sales slump across Etsy.com that a lot of people experienced. I have some new information, a hypothesis, as well as a new direction that I think Etsy might try to go in. What's up, everybody? Dave here. So September 2025 was really bad for a lot of people, and a lot of people talked about it online. I discussed it in a previous video, and I showed you a lot of tweets. And I think it was a little bit different than the usual times where a lot of people get online and talk about sales slumps. Oftentimes, it's their own fault or some other type of outside factor. But this one in the previous September 2025 was kind of hard to ignore because a lot of people were experiencing like glitches and things like that. So it's worth noting. Obviously, it's tough to come to any super conclusive, decision on what happened, but I have some information for you that you might want to think about. So just reviewing, that sales slump came after an official announcement referencing title length suggestions. They gave us a new tool to change title lengths. I at first thought a lot of the sales slump was from a lot of people changing their title lengths, and a lot of people did, in fact, experience a sales slump just from that alone. However, there's more evidence to show that, I think, at least, that it was also from some kind of new AI algorithm. But that's where the sales slump was coming from. That plus Etsy ad settings changed. They introduced some new settings for Etsy ads, which, by the way, have since been reworded. If you've noticed, they reworded it to be a little bit less aggressive and less promising. And I think they were kind of covering themselves with the new wording. Anyway, I got some updates for you here. Here's this guy on Etsy. This is a new low. I honestly don't even know if it's worth keeping our Etsy shop open at this point. At this time last year, we were slammed with orders. Christmas shopping season was the only reason the shop has stayed open as long as it has. The fact that we are down 70% from last year is genuinely worrying to me. I kept saying I would close it after Christmas, but because we couldn't afford to lose that extra income, but if the sales aren't there, there's no point. We would typically hire extra help around this time of the year, but this year there is no point. And they go on to say a lot of other things. AI slop, bullcrap, Temu drop shipping. Etsy is far from what it was 6 to 10 years ago. That's very true, but that doesn't mean you have to leave. However, I did want to show you this tweet. Now, it is easy to say, or easy to at least want to investigate when people say they're down compared to previous years. You don't have the full picture. I've worked with plenty of people that are down previous years, but always can improve and always can get better. Now, there are some situations where I've seen people talk about how they did improve, they did work on their store, they did add new listings, they didn't get stagnant, and they still declined. Those are the testimonies or cases that do actually concern me. Here's another one. Etsy is completely tanked. My sales this year are down 40%, 70% over the last month, despite adding many more products over the last year. This is what I was just talking about. What I had built up between 2021 and 2024 is nearly gone, and this is typically the busiest time of the year. So this is really interesting, and it's also kind of on the curtails of this kind of case where a lot of people are talking about glitches, visibility crisis. Here's this page here, this value-added resource. A weeks-long Etsy search failure is crushing Q4 Black Friday and Cyber Weekend holiday sales as sellers demand answers and visibility issues remain unsolved. Visibility, and then here is their article by Liz Morton. Visibility crisis, Etsy's unresolved search bug pushes holiday sellers to Black Friday breaking point. So this is very concerning, and what do I think this means? So I think this means that what we've seen with September and what we're seeing with the visibility crisis, so-called, I believe that it's the new AI updates to their algorithm attempting to pair sellers with the right customers and trying all new things. I think it is really just growing pains. Now, I can't say if these growing pains are going to result on the other side to a brighter days for Etsy.com. Now, I'm obviously hopeful of that, And if they don't completely drop the ball, then I believe, then yeah, it will result in brighter days for Etsy. Will Temu dropshippers disappear overnight? No. Will AI slop disappear overnight? No. A lot of people accept it and embrace it, which is fine. It's not even the worst of the problems. That's really a niche, opinionated problem to not want AI stuff on the platform. Coming from somebody who maybe was on the platform years ago, like myself, or started handmade, or has been handmade, whatever it may be. That's the least of our worries right now. That's what I think is happening with the new updates, which are unconfirmed. We don't know if this is actually happening, but we do know what the new CEO has said. And that kind of does make me think that there are a lot of AI updates to the algorithm and how it pairs people. And in previous algorithm changes, it just resulted in a few little changes. However, this one seems to have kind of wreaked havoc on the whole system, resulting in these visibility issues. So that is a little bit concerning. However, I think there is potential with the direction with the new CEO. So the new CEO, it could be bad, it could be good. We don't know yet, like I said, but it might continue the AI algorithm horrors. But like I said, if they don't drop the ball, it'll get better. They might add new features like live shopping, for example. A lot of platforms have live shopping. eBay even has live shopping. TikTok Shop has live shopping. Platforms like Whatnot and things like that, people are shopping through live streams. And I'm confused as to why Etsy has not implemented it yet. So I believe that's on the horizon with the new CEO, maybe after they kind of hammer out the details of their new fancy AI algorithm that is not really seeming to work for anybody or help anybody. But after they get that figured out, I have hope that they might introduce live shopping, because that would be really cool for Etsy sellers, especially handmade sellers, the heart of what Etsy started with. If you're a handmade seller, you could make live streams from your workshop or wherever you create. That would be a really connecting experience for your customers and for yourself. So I had AI summarize what the new CEO, I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name, what she has laid out as a vision. AI as a human amplifier. She has said she wants to use AI to remove repetitive, time-consuming tasks for sellers, like listing and operations work, so they can spend more time creating and connecting with buyers. On the buyer side, she plans to invest heavily in AI, to highlight what makes items special and human, and to better communicate how an item was made. I don't know how AI will help communicate how an item was made. You just say how an item was made. So that sounds hilarious. But these are all referenced from articles, each one of these points I'm reading. More precise matching and personalization, that means algorithm changes. That literally means algorithm changes. A core theme is improving Etsy's ability to match buyers with items that actually fit their interests and values. And you can go and look at these articles about leadership transitions and stuff like that on a lot of these different, blog posts that are out there. She frames this less as banning specific production methods and more as improving transparency and relevance, making it obvious that what went into an item, then tuning discovery so each buyer sees more of what they personally value. So more interest-based search results, which we have had before, nothing new under the sun there. Inclusive view of creators and AI. So she has compared AI to earlier production technologies like looms versus hand knitting, arguing Etsy should remain inclusive of creators of all types rather than excluding AI-assisted work outright. That means that she doesn't want to miss out on AI money. That's literally what that means. It has nothing to do with wanting to be inclusive. It means that she wants to be inclusive of that money into their pockets, which you can't hate on her for. It's a publicly traded company. It wants to make money. Their whole goal is to make more money. And if you were to leave AI off the table, then you were leaving money. You're leaving money on the table, per se. She was or is the CEO of Depop, a different platform. So, there's a lot of benefits there, and they're going to be integrating Depop with Etsy more. So that could be interesting as well, considering ChatGPT now offers shopping as well as Etsy listings, that you can check out right within ChatGPT and things like that. So more integrations for Etsy. The horizon is bright potentially for Etsy, but I just wanted to make this video to explain what was going on, what might be happening, and what the new CEO definitely said is going to happen. However, what we know right now is that it's a little bit messy. And with big changes like this, it can be messy. I can't imagine how crazy complex it is to retune an entire algorithm for an entire billion-dollar marketplace on one website. It must be really hard. You must have to do really small trials in little areas and see how that goes. But then when you do implement it across the entire website, it gets messy. Who knows? I don't know. The horizon can be bright. We have to be careful and watch what happens. But at this time, Etsy is still a very viable platform. It's one of the top marketplaces. To remove your business from it is a bad business decision, especially if you know Etsy. Sure, yes, you should have a Shopify or standalone website. If you don't, why don't you? If you're a serious business, you absolutely should. You should not only exist on Etsy, but to not exist on Etsy, if you have a wide product offering, is leaving money on the table regardless of their mess that they're dealing with. If it's your entire livelihood, then I understand why Etsy sellers get so upset, because I've been super upset in the past, but I'm so calloused by these changes. It's just they're doing what they got to do, or they're doing what they think they got to do. So at the end of the day, things can be bright. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope you have a beautiful day.